destroyed the economy. The Trump administration gave you net negative migration and much more job creation. Real wages are finally growing. Inflation is half of what it was under Democrats. Gas prices are their lowest in years. And we have finally made it clear that in the United States, we believe in hard work and merit.
Well, that was J.D. Vance on, I guess, the launch of his 28 campaign. Just a little bit early, but that's on the heels and in the wake of Erica Kirk's endorsement by TPUSA of J.D. Vance after a very successful America Fest where some of the divisions were exposed. And in Charlie Kirk style, they decided to talk about him. I'm Randy Tobler. We're glad you're here to talk about things with us. Stephanie Bell's in with her Christmassy shirt on, fa-la-la-la-la shirt. Sweater. And Drake's there, and we are Wake Up Missouri. Glad you're with us. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're all ready for the big guy sliding down the chimney on Wednesday evening. Well, I don't know. That's usually when he slides down the chimney, right? Late Wednesday night into Saturday morning.
Thursday morning. Yes.
Thursday morning, yeah. So it sounds like a good time. I'm sorry. We had a smashing big Grinch party for the little 1-year-old Sable yesterday. Aww. I'm still recovering from that. Not because I had a lick of alcohol. Just, woo.
Because you ate a bunch of Cheez-Its, apparently.
Well, yeah. We had some Cheez-Its, kids running around like crazy. It was the whole house full. It was a lot of fun. The Grinch theme was she had a little Grinch suit on with the little, the little, instead of the ends of the sleeves being ends of the sleeves, maybe they're Grinchy paws, It was great. It was a great time. But she's not a Grinch. She's a happy little gal. And I learned about a new toy for little ones called the Coney. You ever heard of the Conies?
No.
So it's like a box. It's a cube about, twice the size of a Rubik's Cube, small Rubik's Cube. And then they put these little characters on it, and it starts playing songs. And the way I was put to bed last night was I was the Grinch because one of the Conies was a Snoop Dogg Coney. And it was like, I like to be affirmed. And the kid is supposed to say, I like to be affirmed.
What?
And I will be a good person. I will be, but it was all in rap. And so the whole family was having fun. But it's not all rap.
How do you spell Coney?
I've never heard of a Coney. And then you buy then she was given a little display thing that has magnetic strips on it that is on the wall in an octagon, and you put your little Conies. And there's animal. You haven't heard of Conies? I thought you knew about all this technology.
My kids,
no Conies?
I think my kids are a little old for that.
Yeah, I don't know. But, the little 3- and 6-year-old, soon to be 4- and 7-year-old have it.
And my youngest is 9.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. But it's a fun thing. And it's a lot of fun. I think it's called Conies. I don't know how it's spelled. I think it's a China. I think it's made in China. Not sure. But anyway, that was a lot of fun. But you know how when you have a big party, the getting ready for the party, the excitement of the party itself, the cleanup after the party, it's hard to settle yourself down. So it's hard to get a good sleep. So. Well, it sounds like the KC Chiefs sure slept through that game yesterday. Wow. Well, Minshew gets injured early on, and then he gets replaced by, what's his name, Okamandu? Is that the guy's name, Okamandu? Guy didn't do bad, but Drake, I think you're going to start loving them now, right? Because they're really down and out at this point. Yeah.
Hey, you'll have a better draft pick, I guess.
That's what my sister said. She had tried to convince me to come to Nashville for that game, and she ended up going.
Ooh.
She said it was not. She wanted to. The weather was beautiful, she said, but the game was. She said I had fun. I was zooming in, trying to find Taylor Swift. Got some good pictures of Travis, but the game was kind of.
But my goodness,
not great.
I mean, that was against a 2-12 going into it. Titans team, I think 2-12, something like that.
Yeah, I think 2-11, 2-12. Yeah, they're not a good team. They're definitely not good.
But they're injured too, so I don't know. Epstein files released on Friday. People on the what's Trump trying to conceal side of the fence saying there were pages and pages of like multiple thumbnail sketches or thumbnail shots of pictures that were all black, nothing there.
Because I think all the victims' faces had to be blacked out.
But how come there were pictures of Bill Clinton sitting in a hot tub with a victim's face blacked out?
Because he's not a victim.
But the victim's face was blacked out.
Yeah, that's what they said. They're protecting the victims of these crimes.
But there were hundreds of totally blacked out pictures. I mean, nothing.
Too many. Yeah, I mean, we knew there was going to be a lot of redactions, but yeah, I think Scott Jennings said these shouldn't be called the Epstein files; they should be called the Clintons. And the reason why the Clinton files, the reason why everyone's been so nervous about it is because he showed up a lot, apparently.
Well, that's right. I think this could really backfire on the Dems, And now Todd Blanche was on asking. I had a discussion with someone from MAGA-land, actually. Well, not MAGA land, but anti-Trump land. What would that be? Formerly MAGA, never Trump, now
TDS land?
I don't know. And, no, really. I mean, someone who's a conservative but is worried about why all the redactions and what are they trying to hide and and apparently there were 3 whistleblowers that told Newsweek last summer. I can't find that primary source that Trump ordered that there be redactions of anything with him in it. I've not seen anything like that.
But
I think Todd Blanche answered Kristen Welker the very best in terms of those folks who think that Trump is trying to hide something. I mean, he basically said, well, check this out.
To be clear, releasing the files is not what President Trump has ever had an issue with. When he calls this a hoax, he's talking about the fact that there's this narrative out there that the Department of Justice is somehow hiding or protecting information about him, which is completely false, as evidenced by the fact that the Epstein files existed for years and years and years, and you did not hear a peep out of a single Democrat for the past 4 years. And yet we're supposed to believe that, lo and behold, all of a sudden, out of the blue, Senator Schumer suddenly cares about the Epstein files. That's the hoax. And that's the hoax that has existed for months and months and months. This isn't about whether we would release or not release the Epstein files. As a general matter, we do not release the files of criminal investigations and prosecutions.
So, I mean, I think that is the most compelling argument against the Trump's trying to hide something narrative, right? I mean, the Democrats had 4 years to work on this, and they didn't release a darn thing about Trump.
You think they raided his house, but they're not going to release a bunch of files that are damaging to him? No, I mean, he's exactly right.
But there are people in the conservative world who think that, look at Thomas Massey. As much as I really admire Thomas Massey, he's all over this. He's basically raising that specter of something being suppressed by Trump because Trump... Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we've already seen it, a lot of pictures where at a social, some gathering, a cocktail party where the very most honorable people and the underbelly people all congregate because it's a metropolitan art event or it's whatever. It's an art sales event or something, And that doesn't mean that you're in cahoots with him and you're on the Lolita Express and, pleasuring having pleasure with young underage females. I
mean, you're not Bill Clinton on the jet. It looked like he was on a jet with that gal on his lap. I mean, that looks, but I think that's been Trump's response all the time is like, we were socialites. We were out at these things, right? And so think about, I wouldn't consider myself a socialite, but think about how many events you go to and how many people are there and how there's always photographers there. And, you don't have any control over who's in that room, whether it's a charity function or a political function or whatever. And other people have been burned by this as well. Somebody with kind of what the white supremacists, people, they're like, well, it was a public event. They showed up. I took a photo with anybody who wanted to take a photo. And now they're like, you have a photo with white supremacists. Well, I didn't know who the heck this guy was.
Remember, Jordan Peterson got in trouble because there was a picture of him with the Proud Boys, right? So suddenly he's some kind of anarchist, if there's a picture of you with a victim draped over your lap, that looks bad. If there's, hundreds of emails between you and this person and you were, what appears to be very close friends with this person, not just acquaintances at functions, then it looks bad. And also I think a lot of people are trying, and I think that was, some of the photos are undated and people were kind of looking at the emails because I think people are like, okay, if you were socialiting with him before it was widely known that he was a bad dude, you get a little bit more grace than if you were emailing and hanging out with him after all of these allegations came out. And Trump had very much distanced himself after a flap over some real estate deal or something.
He was stealing his girls from Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. And he was mad about it. He kicked him out, didn't he?
I was only discussing policy with that 15-year-old.
It doesn't look great.
Right. Yeah. look, I think the more that comes out and the less that's redacted, the better it is for Donald Trump to fight back on this thing. I mean, it's clear. Now, you did say that you did raise the possibility that you might be a socialite.
I mean,
I think in these circles, you had 6 parties in 5 days last week and Christmas week.
Yeah.
So you're very busy. And you might be seen with someone who 2 years from now is convicted of some kind of white-collar crime, right? You might, because you're at a lot of parties with people. Well, that doesn't make you some kind of a complicit, criminal with them, right?
Right.
Okay. If you think Stephanie's a socialite, let us know. 573-874-9390.
I think there's a difference. Yeah, I mean, New York socialite life, and at that level of wealth, it's another level,
That's
right?
true.
They're at a party, 2 parties every night, and I just, you can't be like, at that time, before all was known, right? I think there still exists a question of, it became more widely known. Was it known amongst his friends and confidants, and was it like quietly known such that they should have distanced themselves earlier? I think that's a legitimate question, but
Shannon,
I think
daughter Shannon says it's Tony, not Coney.
oh, that's why I was Googling and I couldn't find
joining
it.
us. We're talking about a new toy, Tony. I heard Coney. I don't know. The music days fried my ears. What can I say? No, you're absolutely right. Now, Alan makes a good point, though. He says, why initially did the Department of Justice say there's nothing there, and it took a congressional statute to force them to release it?
Well, and a lot of
Good
people
point.
are frustrated that apparently they're saying that the DOJ still didn't release everything, and that I think their response is that they've got all these lawyers looking through all the documents, and they're going to be kind of released on a rolling basis, and they're doing the best they can. But that just creates a headache for the Trump admin. So they really need to get these things out there and say, look, you've got what we've got, and that's the end.
I'm getting slammed here. Pat, listener Pat, who we all know, says, try Tony.
She's got grandkids. She probably knows. I'm going to Google it now because
All right.
your description wasn't super helpful.
Tankers seized, college football playoffs, so much on tap for you today on this 3 days ahead of Christmas version of Wake Up Missouri. We're glad you're with us. 573-874-9390. DC Rundown coming up.
It's Wake Up Congress, too. Stefanik, a Trump ally, made the announcement in a social media post saying, quote, while spending precious time with my family this Christmas season, I have made the decision to suspend my campaign for governor.
Time for the Daily DC Rundown. Here's Stephanie.
Fox News reports that a lack of Trump support was a key factor in her decision. She was considered the GOP frontrunner against struggling Governor Kathy Hochul, but yes, once bowed out just here recently.
That she was a shining star, a shooting shining star.
Yeah,
in the
she was
Republican Party.
nominated for
UN ambassador,
and then they pulled it back. And
yeah,
then
because they needed the votes in Congress.
And
remember?
And then she announced her run for governor, but now she's saying quits on both.
Remember how strong she was during the hearings on the confirmation hearings on what's his name, Kavanaugh or someone.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked by this news. Trump has endorsed Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, saying Bruce Blakeman is MAGA all the way and has his complete and total endorsement. Have you ever heard of Bruce Blakeman before?
No.
Okay.
But I've heard of Nassau County.
Well, Hochul's team is excited. They said if you run against Governor Hochul, you're going to lose.
He's a sacrificial lamb.
All right. We talked already a little bit about the Epstein files release. I suspect we will get back to that later this morning. But we also have some other news. We are in shutdown 2.0 watch. The deadline is in January. Congress heads home for the holidays. That January 30th deadline is going to come up very quickly. Thoughts on another government shutdown? People are saying it's more likely. There was a funding deal proposed last week. Of course, we reported that it all broke down over that climate agency provision that Trump was pushing. They did get enough signatures on a discharge petition on ACA subsidies to force a House vote in January. So they were, going through different versions of how they might extend those subsidies. I'm not sure which version of that got this discharge petition, but we'll follow that. But certainly they don't have a deal on government shutdown. We are also hearing about more, what do you call this? Seizing. We're not blowing up terrorist boats. Well, we're doing that, but we're also seizing Venezuelan boats.
Two more tankers, right?
Yeah. Well, the third oil tanker, it was announced Sunday, is going to be seized. The second tanker was seized Saturday. That is the third this month. It's they say Homeland Security grabbed the Centuries tanker in international waters. Apparently, it was flying a false flag. And Trump declared Maduro's government a foreign terrorist organization and is promising a full blockade of these sanctioned tankers. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that this Venezuelan oil blockade is pushing Cuba toward economic collapse.
Holy cow.
It's a big deal. And this is, I mean, there are people on both sides of the aisle who are critical of this path, saying we are, kind of starting a war without actually starting a war, and that we're headed in a bad direction here. So.
I don't know. I would think that Trump's got enough restraint that I don't see boots on the ground. I think it's going to be these kind of matters. He's trying to choke off oil going to Cuba, and there's some other strategic, motives behind this. So.
We are also trigger warning Randy, because apparently the Trump admin sent default notices to the nonprofit that manages DC's 3 public golf courses. Apparently there's a National Links Trust through the National Park Service, and folks are saying Trump wants a takeover of those DC golf courses and wants to slap his name on there, so watch out. Other things we're watching, Ted Cruz apparently is eyeing a presidential run against J.D. Vance. Nicki Minaj was at America Fest. We got to play some of her audio. And they had a fake funeral for the penny at the Lincoln Memorial because the penny is no longer.
If you're feeling a little better in general today and you don't know why, I think I do. That and the college football playoffs when we come back.
I think just local
So as you wake up this morning, can you feel that there's something there? There's something in the air. Something's different this morning as you wake up. Could it be that America Fest was pretty successful? 31,000 people, a third of them young people. Could it be that the Kansas City Chiefs will have a first-round draft or close to it because of their abysmal performance this year? Could it be that the Missouri Tigers have a new offensive coordinator? Is that right, Drake?
Oh, yeah.
Who is that?
His name's Chip Lindsey. I am super excited.
What do we know about this person?
Okay. Hey, Randy, I know you don't watch football much.
Did you say Chip Lindsey?
Chip Lindsey.
Chip Lindsey. From where?
So he's kind of had
I watch football. I just
Okay. Who's the best, one of the best NFL quarterbacks that's young right now? He just kind of broke out, had a great year. He's fighting for the 1 seed right now in the AFC. Who is it?
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. Oh, that was
I don't know.
And you say you watch football. No, Drake May.
Who?
Drake May. He was a third overall pick.
That's what I was going to say. I was just testing you.
And he came from North Carolina, and his QB coach was this guy. So he was
Prabula left.
And Prabula left. And we're not getting.
And we have an up and coming star named Matt Zollers.
Yes, we do, and we might. Oh, I'm so excited about this. He also helped with Michigan's staff in the past year, I believe, with Bryce Underwood, one of the most prominent young quarterbacks in the nation. So, I mean, this is a great hire. So good on you,
North Carolina, isn't that where Belichick is? No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But they weren't winning a lot. But their quarterback's good?
No. So he left as Belichick came in.
Okay.
But, yeah, this is huge for Mizzou.
Okay, good deal, huh?
I mean, we've had, top 25 seasons, good Bulls and all that, but we haven't had many prominent Mizzou quarterbacks in the NFL. And, every other big school has had at least a couple huge guys.
As exciting as that is, I imagine most of our wake-up family at large is not waking up with that just feeling of something's different. And it's better.
Is it
and
the
there's
Christmas
something
spirit?
more coming. No, it's not Christmas spirit. Do you know what it is, Stephanie?
I don't.
Do you know what yesterday was? It was the saddest, the most dark, literally, day of the year. It was the solstice.
Oh, yeah.
And today, we have a few seconds of daylight more than we had yesterday. And it's funny how it accelerates. So today, the days start getting longer. And really, for the first few days, actually, daybreak starts a little later. But because sunset is later than that, there's a few seconds more today and the day after that. But the length of the daylight accelerates over the next few days. So
Thank goodness.
We'll only gain about a minute or two by the end of this year. But it starts accelerating as we get into mid-January and beyond. Then you're putting on a couple minutes a day,
Well, I'm
adding
excited.
This to I hate the dark.
Well, I'm adding this to my bucket list because yesterday, apparently, thousands of people flocked to Stonehenge to celebrate the winter solstice. They said they sold out of their parking for the annual event in Wiltshire, England. Many attendees gathered before dawn for what they consider a spiritual experience.
Druids we are. We're all druids now. I can see Drake suiting up and going over to Stonehenge. After he goes to the dispensary.
After I go to... Oh, wow.
Amsterdam, then Stonehenge. Drake.
Amsterdam, then Stonehenge.
There you go.
So it was a big day at Stonehenge yesterday.
Yeah.
Look, it does mean a lot. I think psychologically, just knowing that things are going to get a little brighter, This is when people start pretty soon, like the day after, probably January 2nd, people are going to start getting those Stark Brothers and others catalogs, And they start thinking about what kind of seeds they can start and getting ready. Doesn't take long. So the days are getting longer, but it's really interesting. I didn't realize that actually today sunrise is later than it was yesterday, but sunset is more later, more late. Tony, Coney, whatever. I don't know. So Nicki Minaj was on full display, a surprise guest. And seeing her opposite Erica Kirk was really interesting. I just thought it was a contrast, and she's full in on Trump.
I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president. He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact.
What does she mean to her audience, to her followers? What does that mean? That clearly has meaning. I mean, she's a celebrity. I don't know that this is all calculated or if this comes from her heart, but clearly she resonates with a group of people, and that group of people probably appreciate what she said. What does she mean by beating the bad guys and doing it with your head held high? I don't know. 573-874-9390 if you know the answer to that question. The cynic in me says this is absolutely calculated. She's speaking to, I don't know, young black males. I mean, is that who are her followers?
She has a lot of women followers.
Yeah.
And that's been her stance, is like women in other countries who are being tortured and tormented by their culture. And she said Trump's standing up to some of these bad guys.
Oh, she talked about, later on, she talked about the Nigerian Christians.
Yeah,
and how
that's what her big issue. That's
isn't
where
she-
she first came out, I think.
Isn't she sort of a twerking rapper of sorts? Isn't she one of those
Yeah,
kinds?
she is, but isn't her number one op Stephanie Bell? Was that Nicki Minaj?
That was Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, her number one op, the bad guy, is sitting in this studio with us right now.
She's the one who thought Stephanie Bell had swatted her, and her
That's
people
right.
came after me. But her followers are called the Barbs, and they are many.
Maybe you can
many,
reach out.
and they're.
Maybe you can reach out and get her on the air here. We'll have an interview with
We'll
her.
try.
It'd be fun.
But her lyrics. I mean, so in that conversation, I didn't realize, but her lyrics, some of them, I mean, have kind of shown that she's a little bit conservative, because they were all quoting back to me, once we resolve the issue, we all have a Republican doctor, which I think is a lyric from one of her songs.
Interesting. Okay.
And they were all like, MAGA girl, her followers. Afterwards, they knew that I was at the presidential debate, and they were like, we're voting for you, MAGA, whatever. And it was all her people. So, I mean, she has a lot of conservatives in her movement.
Minaj, Bell and Minaj, or Minaj and Bell in 28. I can see it now. Should we do the bumper sticker? Should we print it now?
I
What do you say, Drake?
I don't know
I'll
that
put the order in.
we're that close.
Put
but
the order in. What do you think? How would that ticket hold, ladies and gentlemen? 573-874-9390. I have to know. Would you support a money bomb for that right now? Paul says, I'm with you, Randy. Taking solace in the solstice. Very, very nice.
And I mean, she's been a heavy critic of Newsom. She called him Gavy Poo.
Oh, and
she calls him
Newscum several times.
Yeah. She's pretty active on socials.
Brian says the bad guys are the deep state Satan worshipers. Oh, I can't disagree there.
If they're out there, I think they're bad too.
Well, this is something to feel good about on a Feel Good Monday, since it's a bit of a shorter week. Well, we went to Boonville to the Route B Cafe, says Bruce. Delicious. Gas $2.17.
Wow.
Then drove to Columbia, gas $2.59. What the heck? Someone has got to explain this. I understand a nickel here and there, but my God, that's 42 cents. That's a big deal. Used to be a cup of coffee worth. Now, not anymore. You have to have about 10 times that to buy a cup of coffee.
Yeah, back in my day, I used to be able to get a lollipop for a penny, right?
I don't know. I don't know where the disparity comes in there. It's not clear. Well, I'm excited, though, that a hip-hop celebrity is on the Turning Point USA stage, featured with Charlie Kirk's widow. I mean, you can't make it up, nor can you think about the impact of that, right? I mean, you can't imagine how high impact that is.
It's a big tent. And what we know is, Trump did really well among black people in America in the last election. He would go into the streets, right? And, they do man on the street interviews, and they're like, this guy's giving me hope. He's not, Kamala kept coming out with all of those weird policies, purportedly targeting black men. And they're like, we don't want the government's help. We just want them out of our business, and we want to do what we're doing, And so you kind of saw that shift happening. And I think in all of the exit polling that showed, and I think it's continuing to, that movement is continuing to grow. It's
interesting to see. I don't know much about Nicki Minaj, but I'm going to have to learn more about her. Maybe I'm sure my daughters can share with me some of her.
I'm not sure that there's a Tony
hits.
Nicki Minaj you can slap on that box.
No
for
Tony
kids.
Nicki Minaj?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Now, you know what? When they put the Snoop Dogg Tony on top of the little Tony box, I said, did you know about what Snoop was into of 2.5 decades ago? He's a Girls Gone Wild, and wasn't he tried for murder and stuff? Now, maybe he's reformed.
Now he's just like BFFs with Martha Stewart, right? Isn't that him?
Well,
that's him.
Couple of jailbirds having fun. Well, no, good for him. I mean, and the message was good for the kids. It was good.
We are expecting a big announcement today. We talked a little bit earlier about the not so great Chiefs game, but apparently Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has said she is making a special announcement today at 3 p.m. in the Kansas state capitol, and folks are speculating that perhaps it has something to do with the Chiefs.
Ooh.
Now
Scott Fawn's joining us at 8:08. I wonder if he's got some inside information into that.
Now, I heard that they made a final push and they were having a meeting today. Kansas City, like their owners, and Kansas. So maybe.
Yeah, there was a lot of activity over the last few days. I don't know exactly which meetings were when, but the announcement is happening today at 3, apparently. Some sort of announcement.
It's been eerily quiet on the Missouri side of the river, right? Eerily quiet. Now, this is a good. James says, make sure Randy doesn't Google Nicki Minaj on his work computer.
Probably fair.
And then, of course, there was the Ben Shapiro and Bannon, Stephen K. Bannon dust up. I mean, Shapiro absolutely dismissed Tucker and Candace and Bannon came right back at him. There were some verbal fisticuffs at America. Hey, but we don't cancel people in the Republican tent, right? That's what Charlie Kirk was all about. Well, there's a bit of a menacing virus that is circulating your way, guaranteed. Did you get your flu shot? We'll talk about it and make Missouri flu resistant again when we come back.
It's Wake Up
Well, did you get your flu shot this year? Many people say no. I think that makes it even more important to really guard against exposure as much as you can, because there's a pretty wicked one going around. It's resulted already in about 49,000 cases, many hospitalizations, a couple thousand deaths, some of them children. So it's an influenza A of the H3N2 variety. It's subclade K, it's called, subclade K. Never mind the technicalities, just know that it's coming to a neighborhood near you. Increasing numbers reported. I know that Eric Mays said that they'd had, 10 cases, I think, at their institution here. So it's going to be circulating. And, of course, right at the worst time, right, Stephanie, when families are gathering, you've got people coming in from all parts of the country, maybe visiting. And so what can you do? The influenza vaccine, there's already been some drift. You know, the vaccine's based on what was happening in Asia a year or so ago, and then the vaccine takes time to make and test and, make sure the quality standards are where they need to be. That's why they need to do a little bit of guesswork. Well, there's already been some antigenic drift, and so it's estimated that this is going to prevent between 30 and 70% hospitalizations, higher numbers of protection among children, by the way, hospitalization, lower among younger people or older people. So bottom line, wash your hands. Drake, don't pick your nose. Very important not to pick your nose after you've been fiddling around with the knobs that other people have been fiddling around with here at the studio. Okay. When you're the knobs and you're typing and other people have been doing that. So their viral germs are on there. And then you don't want to touch your eyes, nose, or mouth without first sanitizing your hands. That's where most of this happens. Where a lot of this happens. Also, if you do get sick, and by the way, influenza is different than the common cold. The common cold, you start feeling a little funky. You're thinking, wow, is this winter solstice day? I just don't feel right, And then a little scratchy throat, and then you get congested, maybe get a little fever, maybe a little headache. But the flu hits you, just hits you like a door in the face, and it really knocks you down. You get fever, chills, cough. It's a respiratory viral pneumonia, but it really knocks you down and severe fatigue. So you really should not congregate with folks until you're at least 24 hours fever-free, without the aid of acetaminophen, which will also give you autism, according to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Just joking. So I think the vaccine, if you've been vaccinated within the last couple of weeks, while it may not prevent it in many cases, it's not a perfect match. It is a bit of a mismatch against this particular strain. But remember, the vaccine hits a couple of A strains and a B strain as well. So, the vaccine most of us get. And so there'll be some reduction in the severity of your symptoms, especially for the little ones. And that's what's very, very important. If you're really at high risk for complications, younger children, older adults, pregnant women, if you have asthma, diabetes, heart disease, any kind of chronic illness like that, autoimmune, if you're suppressed because of a transplant or you're taking prednisone because you have rheumatoid arthritis or you have lupus or something like that, be careful because you really could really get very, very ill with this thing. So it's very, very important. And like I said, real world data says that about 30 to 40% protection against hospitalization in adults, up to 75% against hospitalization in children. So it's not too late, but it's going to take a couple weeks for that vaccine to be effective. So, hey, think about it. It will give you some protection. Let's make Missouri healthy again. We talk with Boone County Presiding Commissioner Kip Kendrick in just a few. Stay tuned. All right, with just a few days before the big man slides down the chimney, drops off some goodies for the kids, and eats a lot of cookies. And
milk.
And milk, absolutely. And the snow deer have to leave the little bits of carrots as they were eating the carrots that we always left for them. They leave the carrots. They fly off the roof. We'll ask Presiding Commissioner for Boone County, Kip Kendrick, if he's ready for Christmas. You all ready, Kip? Welcome into the program.
Good morning. I believe so. You know, we got most of our Christmas cookies baked over the weekend. I think we're ready to go for Santa and the whole team.
Well, you're making most of us guys out there feel pretty bad because I feel the Christmas Eve mall run coming up very, very soon here.
there may be a gift or two yet on the list to pick up.
I don't know what it is about us guys. We tend to procrastinate a little. I know women that are like from the day after Christmas, they're already stowing away stuff for next year. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
At any rate, hey, we wanted to talk about the new flight. Talk about a Christmas gift to area residents. Really a lot going on it just seems like the acceleration of growth at the airport. We know, of course, the growth of the terminal a couple of years ago, and things are just popping there. Tell us about some of the latest happenings in terms of those flights, new flights.
Yeah. Well, so in 2025, we've seen United come back to Columbia Regional Airport with the Denver flight. We've seen Allegiant join the mix as well with Florida destinations. And then just this last week, American announcing the Charlotte destination, which has been elusive. It's been talked about for about a decade now and been certainly on the wish list of the business community as well as the University of Missouri. And so finally landed that with flights beginning in June of 2026 with the Charlotte destination being added.
You know, as we've made these serial announcements over the year and really been glad to see that, it's going to open up so many opportunities for folks that don't have to drive to KC or St. Louis, at least for these flights. It crosses my mind that, I mean, what is how close are we to the capacity of the airport? I mean, is that a federal thing? How does that determine how many flights a day an airport could handle? I mean, it's not like this is the terminal at a large metro area, but are we even close to that?
Not quite. You know, Mike Parks is doing a great job. It depends on how we look at capacity as well. Mike would tell you parking capacity is getting there, right? Yeah. And so I know that the city has been working with Mike and the airport on increasing parking capabilities at the airport. We still have an additional terminal and hopefully to get a new flight bridge for the additional area. Sorry, not a new terminal, but an additional flight deck coming at some point in 2026, hopefully, which will come with a pretty big price tag. But we have additional capacity yet to be fully tapped into.
What are you hearing from the business community about the addition of those flights? I mean, you're part of a team, I assume, when we are trying to retain and attract new businesses. How important is that connectivity?
That connectivity, especially the East Coast, is critical. It is a big destination for Mizzou travelers as well with the SEC. So I know that that's been a big ask for the last decade with Charlotte. And it is also a big international jumping off point as well. So a lot of international flights, but the business community really expands their opportunities to get up and down the East Coast faster, as well as hop overseas for business trips.
Now, you've been able to capitalize on some of your relationships in the legislature and land some pretty big projects for Boone County. We have an event coming up with the new training center. Is that right?
We do. We're very excited about that. Open it up to the public for a grand opening on Saturday, January 10th, and that'll be open to the public from 9 a.m. until noon.
And talk to us, just give a little bit of background for that project.
Yeah, so this is the Boone County Sheriff's Office Regional Training Center. We are very fortunate to have state support in building this facility. We'll really expand Boone County Sheriff's Office ability to provide low-cost, high-quality training to law enforcement agencies across the state of Missouri, but also, obviously, keep their own team trained up. And we're really proud of the facility. It's been in there over the last year of the construction, just over the last couple of months, just to see the finishing touches added. It's exciting every time I'm in there. And I think that the public will find it to be a great asset as well. If they come out on January 10th, they'll be able to see a lot of demonstrations throughout the building. A lot of sheriff's deputies there on site doing defensive tactics. And the public will probably be invited as well to try out the driving simulator as well as some of the virtual reality equipment there.
Can I make a reservation for producer Drake Whitman to be number one on the driving simulator? That'd be possible.
That'd be great. It'll be a great tool for defensive driving.
Well, I'm telling you, when people found out that Drake was driving on the streets, my insurance rates went up about 20%. It was bad. So, well, that's good.
I'm not for sure we can offer a certificate for it, but we can at least take a video of him.
Hey, the other innovation that I find interesting, I know when I was running a little critical access hospital in Northeast Missouri, we started a daycare center for nurses who work at atypical day center hour type shifts, And so tell us about the child care opportunity coming up for employees there.
And Randy, that's really it. I mean, our peers in this space tend to be hospitals, but we are currently constructing a public safety child care center that'll be part of the public safety campus, really about expanded access and trying to make it affordable as well. We haven't set tuition rates yet for it. As we get closer to opening the center, we will, but it's about providing 7 days a week, at least probably around 15 to 17, 18 hours a day of care, depending on the need. We looked to San Diego Police Officer Association led the charge in San Diego to open one about 3 years ago now, and we've been in contact with them during the last couple of years as we kind of plan this out. Yeah. But regionally, it really does tend to be the hospitals, which are similarly situated, 24/7 operations. Their staffing needs tend to be similar to law enforcement, to joint communications. And so they've been a great asset. Hannibal Regional Hospital, Blessing Hospital, Freeman, their teams have been great helping us think through this.
Yeah. Well, and I do need to ask the question because it was something that arose in our little neighborhood was, well, are you going to have a public entity supported somehow indirectly by taxpayers providing competition for the daycare centers that are privately owned? And the answer there was no, they're over demand there. Capacity couldn't meet demand, so it wasn't a problem. How about here? Have you had any pushback there?
We've had some good conversations. I mean, there isn't that 7 day a week, 18-hour-a-day facility that exists. And also there's wait lists. Anytime we have a joint communication dispatcher go out on maternity leave, if they have not been on a wait list for 8, 9, 10 months, we know that we can expect them to be out longer than what one typically would be out. And, to get a joint dispatcher trained, it's a minimum about $60,000 and close to 8 months of training just to get them where they're comfortable taking calls and not necessarily dispatching. So this is we expect this to be a big recruitment retention tool for us to help us keep high-quality first responders in Boone County.
A great model to follow. We're talking with Presiding Commissioner at Boone County, Kip Kendrick, on Wake Up Missouri.
So you've chalked up some wins in Jefferson City, secured some additional funding for some big projects. What's on the list for next session? Are you already identifying priorities that you think the state and the county could partner on?
Yeah, I know that the assessor is certainly having a lot of conversations in Jefferson City inside the Capitol and has been over the interim with the interim committee on property tax. And so we know that he's going to take a lead. I don't want to necessarily speak for him, but I do know that they're working on hopefully some good reforms for property taxes on how the assessment side happens. And so I know he's working on that. One thing that the Boone County Commission will continue to watch and be engaged in is the individuals who have been deemed incompetent to stand trial by Department of Mental Health, but yet continue to be residents, continue to be detained in county jails across the state of Missouri. Counties don't get reimbursed for that. And these individuals really need more mental health care than county jails can provide. So we're trying to work with legislators on solutions for that issue, which will be big. And we don't expect that to be solved in 1 year, but we do hope to see incremental progress in 2026.
And I assume you'll be leading the charge for property tax reduction in Missouri? Just kidding.
Well, one of the things I think that Kenny, that our assessor would, they made good progress on, is trying to reduce that ratio. The state tax commission this last year really pushed over 80 counties, including Boone County, to raise their residential and really threaten lawsuit against them if they didn't get it in that target goal of, I believe it's 80 to 100% of assessed valuation. So trying to lower that, where those targets are awfully high, in years of inflation in the housing market. If you hit, if housing market hopefully starts to prices start to stagnate a little bit, maybe come down some, then you're overvaluing those properties on assessed valuation. So I think there have been good conversations around the state on how to address that.
Finally, in the minute we have, has the DOGE effect at the federal levels? I'm asking all decision makers and administrators that across the state and local jurisdictions. Has that affected you impact-wise in terms of maybe grants being canceled or anything? How's that working out?
There were some impacts on the, what is the city county health department. I think that the city side of it lost a bit more than what the county did. We saw some of our EMPGs, so the emergency management program and grants. We saw some of those unfrozen, froze again, unfrozen. So no really disruption in the flow of those funding, of that EMPG funding, but just kind of some curious nature about whether or not that would continue or not. But the health department's probably seen a bit more. I think the county's lost about $400,000 in grants there.
Well, the uncertainty is one thing and the reality is another, and trying to make that all make sense is the challenge for Kip Kendrick and other officials. We thank you for being with us. Have a Merry Christmas and a healthy and Happy New Year. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, there he is. When we come back, Drake had a Secret Santa that you won't believe. We'll have some fun with that when we come back.
We're going to embarrass him.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
And of course, at every workplace and in many organizations, there's Secret Santa days. And that happened on Friday here at Zimmer Communications.
It was going on all week, and I think that's really cute. Like, Drake was getting gifts from a Secret Santa all week, and you got some pretty cool things.
Oh, yeah. It was.
The person clearly knew you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that really threw me off was on Monday, I got a little baggie of batteries that just said, like, toy not included. So I was like, oh, what's going to come that needs batteries? Nothing
That's
came.
hilarious. I want to get that.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
So you had all kind of anticipation, right?
There was a lot of anticipation, yeah.
Yeah.
And it culminated on Friday
Yeah.
in front of all of our coworkers.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And your Secret Santa went above and beyond.
Yeah, I was going to say. And creativity abounded. You want to share that with us, Drake?
No,
he
but
doesn't.
you're going to make me.
But it is excellent. All right, listen up.
Let's listen up.
Oh, 'twas the night before Christmas. At work late one night, Drake was still single, still swiping for one just right. Young guy, big dreams, shooting shots way above. Still hoping a Tiger athlete might fall in love. Mizzou softball, other Tigers too. Drake's dating standards, elite, black, gold, and new. So under the tree, what did Secret Santa bestow? A free Match.com gift. Bro, let's go. May your swipes be successful, your DMs ignite. Merry Christmas to Drake. Now please, someone just swipe right.
And the color of Drake's face is the same
That
color
is
as
great.
Santa's suit.
So this wasn't as bad as it was the day it actually happened, because he wasn't there. This wasn't like him coming up and playing it or anything like that. I guess who my Secret Santa was, I said Cosmo. Liz from Liz and Scotty stands up and is like, this is a two-parter, and just plays it from her phone. And it was so embarrassing, caught me so off guard. And then she walks over to me, and a little stocking, like the size of my finger, is a rolled up Match.com, like Secret Santa Match.com certificate. So
you have a free, like a month of Match.com to maybe get your dating life back in order.
That's the other thing. I've never used Match.com. I haven't heard of that in a while, but
Well, maybe you should try it because your other strategies aren't really working out for you, are they?
Yeah, and Randy, you can turn her mic off now. You can go, Stephanie.
Cosmo is so good, and he played that so well, and yeah,
I don't know
very
if,
well.
I don't know if Cosmo's ever done stand-up, but he should. I mean, the guy has a creative genius that is great, and of course, he, along with Kat on Cosmo and Kat on the morning show on our sister station Y107, do a great job. And when he comes out in the morning and out of the studio, takes a little break, and we're all chatting, you never know what he's going to come up with. He's got a beautiful creative genius. That was cool. Well done.
Drake still looks mad.
I listened to this guy as a kid, so it's just surreal for him to make that. Like, if you would have told me a year ago that this was going to be something I'd have to play on air on a news station. I don't know.
You'll remember that for a long time.
Yes, I will.
Drake's Secret Santa, Cosmo.
I want to know, what are people's, because I've had this conversation with folks around the building. What's your, do you have a rule for re-gifting? Have you re-gifted, or do you like donate the stuff you don't like? Or have you ever, I'm always nervous I'm going to re-gift something back to the person who gave it to me.
I do use gift bags over.
We all do that.
I wish I had a good business idea though. What if they made some way to somehow affix a tag to the actual handle like the original tag? Got to figure out a way to do that.
Because once you slap the sticker on it, then you just have to cover it up with another sticker.
With another sticker, yeah.
I've done that.
Be back with more.
Has America been fair to Donald Trump? The people all
18% of Americans approve of Democrats in Congress.
Listen, Republicans control the House, the Senate.
We're an equal opportunity, by the way.
It's like
television show.
You guys are down to
Okay, yes.
I'm confused with what's going on here.
You guys are down to friends, family, illegals, and health insurance executives. That's who you got right now. You need an autopsy.
We have the.
Well, Scott Jennings nailing the Democrat on the CNN panel, saying all you guys got is healthcare executives and illegals and family and friends. You know, that's it. And at 18% congressional rating, the battle lines are being drawn. The midterms just now less than a year away, and it will be heating up, no doubt, as we hurtle towards this again. Shutdown deadline, January 31st. What will happen? I know we'll be following that. America Fest, a big success, I think, for the big, wide conservative tent. Really airing some pretty dirty laundry between Candace and Tucker on one side, Steve Bannon, and Shapiro and others on the other side, and Erica Kirk just, hanging out with them all as she carries on with the leadership of Turning Point USA. 31,000 people showed up over the weekend. And then, to cap it off, she and Nicki Minaj walking out on stage and having a nice interview together, and Minaj embracing Trump and Vance. And lest we forget that Erica Kirk committed TPUSA to endorsing and backing J.D. Vance in the 28 election. It seems like every season is a political election season, right? In America 2025. Now, some heartening news from the Highway Patrol, Stephanie. I was glad to see this story that you found. I think it really, it just makes us all feel good about standards and merit.
I think that's right. So the News Tribune reported on their latest class of recruits and the graduation that just happened, and I think they're doing the right thing. What do you think? Yes,
I like it. I mean, the chief of the patrol there said that
this was their 124th recruitment class, and the News Tribune reported more than half of their class didn't make it through the academy. And Colonel Michael Turner, superintendent of the Highway Patrol, says, I get asked all the time about why so many recruits are quitting the academy and what we as an agency are going to do about it. I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do about it. Nothing. We're going to embrace the fact that it's difficult, and it's going to remain difficult. Being a Missouri State Trooper is not for everyone, and only the best get to walk across the stage and receive a diploma.
Wow.
Michael Turner for president.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that, and isn't it interesting that we're just really just heartened by that? Like, wow, how revolutionary merit matters.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deadlift a hay bale off the side of the road if you're weak, right? Mm-hmm. And that we saw that viral video a couple years ago by the trooper who did that. But yeah, these are, I mean, when things are going wrong, you want people who can handle their business and handle your business. And I think this is we're not going to lower our standards just because we're having recruitment problems. We're going to continue to seek out the best of the best and make sure we're there to provide the service that is expected of us. I think that's awesome.
And don't you wish that applied to college admissions and, I mean, so many things that have been so just absolutely turned on their head with the DEI era? It's just amazing. And it's glad to see merit is coming back, and we played a little bit of J.D. Vance earlier talking about that as well, that's really what the Trump administration is about merit, a meritocracy in America, and not just admission either to the country or to the college or to a job promotion because of immutable characteristics, whether it be your gender, your race, your ethnicity, whatever. So good to see. Congratulations to the Highway Patrol and its chief there. 573-874-9390 if you want to join in on the goings-on in the program.
You know, it's interesting, that conversation we had with Presiding Commissioner Kip Kendrick, because as he was talking about the flights that were being added at Columbia, our Fox News feed is up here saying we're going to have a record-breaking travel season.
Yeah. Isn't that great? I'm glad that things are back in order for this season. I mean, I really fret that we're going to have another shutdown, though. I mean, I don't know. Although you said there's earlier, if you're just joining us on Wake Up Missouri, earlier on the Daily DC Rundown, Stephanie, you reported that a discharge petition. You'll have to explain what that means, but I think it forces a vote, right, in the House on extending the subsidies. It has already passed, right?
They got enough signatures on this discharge petition.
So it's not a vote. It's just you go around and a legislator or two or three go around just like at your favorite shopping center, and they go on their clipboard and ask their colleagues to sign a document.
Like a petition.
Yeah.
So last week, 4 House Republicans joined 214 Democrats in signing this discharge petition that would bring a 3-year extension of the subsidies to the floor. Speaker Johnson declined to bring the bill up before the lower chamber adjourned, but that discharge petition forces a vote, so it will be one of the first orders of business when they return in January.
Do they return right after the 5th or whenever that is? What is that?
That's
5th,
a good question. I don't know.
I think so. And then the governor's breakfast.
Yeah, we're going to be the prayer breakfast. I believe it's on January 14th. The governor had announced that. We will do our normal thing. We've done it for many years in a row. And
they return on the 7th, right? So that's a week after they return?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so then the following Wednesday, the governor will host his annual prayer breakfast. I don't know who the keynote is yet. I'm going to have to look into that. Yeah. But we will be outside live in Jefferson City from Capitol Plaza, and it's a good time. We usually kind of take everyone's temperature on how they're feeling coming back to Jefferson City. Get some good predictions for the session, and get to talk to a lot of folks from around the state.
I'll be asking every elected official if they are on board. Do I have to register as a lobbyist if I have a
not if
policy
you're not getting
issue?
paid.
Well, I'm not getting paid for that.
There you go.
I think that I'm going to ask every legislator, warning legislators, if they're on board with making your cash pay for labs and x-rays, because often that's cheaper than your insurance negotiated rate, that cash pay should apply to deductibles. That's my crusade for 26. Want to see that happen?
Go get it.
Well, I'm here for you. I'm fighting for you.
Thank you.
I'm looking out for you.
I appreciate
it doesn't
that.
benefit me. I don't care. But I mean, I don't have any personal benefit out of it. I want people to have affordable, truly affordable, accessible health care. Okay, here's another economic issue that sounds like pennies, but it adds up. So with the penny going out of style, I've already seen it at a local gas station. Please give us your pennies. We need pennies. Okay, so now there's the Missouri Independent is reporting that the question that many retailers are asking is, should they round up or round down? Some states are weighing in with legislation. Maybe I wonder if there's been any pre-filed bills, in the General Assembly. But as pennies are vanishing, reports Kevin Hardy at the Independent, many businesses are clamoring for federal guidance on how. Now, darn it. What is the matter with you business? Why is it always federal? Go to your municipality. Go to your state. Everyone always wants to run to the big centralized imperial federal government.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things, just doing some digging. But yeah, at the cash register, obviously, when you're doing a lot of low dollar transactions, what are they supposed to round up or round down? Even in government, like programs, SNAP, apparently the SNAP program forbids treating beneficiaries differently. So, people have questions about rounding with respect to government benefits when you're doing check cashing. Obviously banks are highly regulated, and they're just hoping that somebody tells them what the right thing to do is. Because as a small business owner, you're going to still have to be taking people's cash and doing these transactions. And I think the penny is already in a shortage, and they're wondering, what's the right thing to do? Just tell me what it is and I'll do it. Now, again, we ask the government every year to just tell me how much tax I owe and I'll pay it. That's a hard question.
And if you look at it from the retailer's standpoint, I mean, it could either be if you decide to always round up, obviously, then the customer is going to feel one way. If you round down, you're going to be advantaging, and the customer's not going to like that. So they're looking to try to triangulate and offload whatever pain comes out of this, right, in terms of the rounding. I don't know that most customers would care one way or another. I'd like to see if you're going to round up, it goes to a charity. And if you're going to round down, I'm the charity. I don't know. What should the rule be? 573-874-9390. Let us know. How would you like to be treated? How do you handle it if you've already met that little hurdle, that obstacle at the checkout line, or you're paying for your gas, or you've already paid for your gas, and you're going and buying a cup of coffee, and it comes out to $1.03.
Yeah,
what do you do?
There was a study in 2023 by the DCPC, which is a Federal Reserve sponsored survey, and they said about 35% of transactions end in 0 or 5 cents, so no effect there. But then they said, looking at other cash transactions, they're more likely to end in 3, 4, 8, or 9 cents, suggesting, and if your math isn't mathing this morning, because I wouldn't have been able to do this off the top of my head, it suggests that rounding may indeed result in a net cost to consumers. Not great.
McDonald's proposed legislation mirroring Canada's rounding policy. Purchases ending with 1, 2, 6, or 7 would be rounded down, and 3, 4, 8, or 9 would be rounded up. Apparently, there's a National Conference of State Legislators Tax and Local Taxation Task Force. Does that sound like Animal Farm and Orwell all together?
ACSL is pretty well known, and a lot of our legislators go to their conferences. They have a lot of good data on their website.
And they've recommended symmetrical rounding.
Apparently we're late to the party because, let's see, Australia discontinued its 1 cent and 2 cent coins in 1992. New Zealand eliminated the 1 cent and 2 cent coins in 1990 and its 5 cent coin in 2006, and Canada ceased penny production in 2012. See, the thing I don't like is the coins that are like $1, $2, $5, right? Because you go somewhere where they have that, and then you got a whole pocket full of change, and in your mind, this is like nothing, right? Like, you just throw it in a jar and you forget about it, and suddenly you look at it and it's like $30.
Right.
And you're like, oh, wait, hold on.
They're meaningful. I don't know. It doesn't really affect me one way or another, but the automatic rounding up might bother me just on the fact that, hey, cumulatively in aggregate, that's a lot of money for the company. Where's it coming back, or at least some semblance of return to the customer,
Then again, if we're just talking about money, we were paying 3 cents to produce every 1 cent, at the federal government level. It was costing us more to make the pennies than they were actually worth.
Yeah.
And so it's an overall savings from the government perspective. But yeah, I think a little bit of guidance on what they're expecting.
Yeah. And I guess it's not unreasonable if the government started this collision course, they ought to make some rules to help us manage it. Right?
You would think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not settled, but at least widely discussed science. When we come back, John's out this week, and Drake will be back with, and that would be all except for this.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
The auctioneer said, I've been doing coin auctions for 40 years, and I can tell you I've never seen anything like this because there's never been anything like this. Normally when you collect coins, you don't think they're going to be worth anything when you get them, but these guys know it's going to be worth something. So
what was did you say 16.7 million? 16?
Yeah, $16 million for a penny.
Cow.
So you can say it was worth a pretty penny.
Well, how was what was the coin in question here that garnered that much money?
It was a penny.
No, I know, but what penny? Thank you.
What penny? What do you mean? What
was
penny?
it like
the year? Was it the Denver?
The
Mint,
last.
the
It was the last
Mint?
one that was minted.
Oh, the last one. Okay. I guess I missed that. The very last one, and they've already. Did the government auction that off, or did someone have it and then go to Sotheby's or something?
I guess I don't think they went to Sotheby's. Jeez, no.
Sotheby's?
Isn't it Sotheby's?
Yeah.
Sotheby's?
TH in there. Yeah.
I like Sotheby's.
I have no clue what you're talking about. What's Sotheby's?
It's a upscale auction house.
Is it like
Stephanie's furnished her house with most of the things in there?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I'd assume that this was like just some guy who got the lucky last penny.
Wow, can you imagine? How would you know you got the last penny? There's something going on here. Wait, whoa. How? Okay, so let's rewind this tape a little bit. So the last penny rolls off of the mint. I don't know how pennies are transported and how. Again, what do they go to a bank first, and then they go to? Does someone get a bankroll and it shows up at your local Emos or Shakespeare's Pizza? I mean, I don't know. Or Casey's or Break Time? How does that work? And how would someone know that they got the last penny? Why is it any different than any other penny?
Because they say it is, Randy, and it auctioned for it, and now you can say I spent $16 million for a penny.
I don't think there's something fishy here.
You think
You're
it's like
mad.
a big conspiracy?
I'd like to know more detail on this.
It's just because your little coin collection from 1942 when you were collecting coins won't be complete now that the last penny was sold for $16 million.
I have to ask the little 1-year-old plus grandkid came in with a big tub of the, what's it called? Utz? What? The cheese balls,
Oh, yeah, the barrel.
He and I feasted on those. Oh, boy, did we knock that down about a third of the way in an hour, Friday or Saturday. So we used to have a whole one of those filled up with coins. And my wife kept threatening to do something with it. And I don't know. I haven't seen it laying around in a while. I'm wondering what happened.
Maybe she bought you a $16 million penny.
I wanted to go through it because there are valuable coins. There's certain years with a certain mint, if the Denver Mint, the Philadelphia Mint, the whatever mint. And so, of course, I don't know how I'd ever have the time to go through it, but it's on that thing-to-do list, which is growing ever longer.
My kids love it. They'll dump out I have a big jar of coins, and they'll dump out all the coins and make like art pieces on the floor of like the different colors of the coins. And they love looking at the years. And
they do. Good.
Oh,
I like that.
They love that.
That's good. Well, we're going to talk to Scott Fawn when we come back ahead of what Stephanie is reporting is a big announcement by the Kansas governor in their capital later today. Well, the way the Chiefs played Sunday, is it a good riddance thing? I don't know. Scott Fawn coming up.
Kamala Harris opened the border and destroyed the economy. The Trump administration gave you net negative migration and much more job creation. Real wages are finally growing. Inflation is half of what it was under Democrats. Gas prices are their lowest in years. And we have finally made it clear that in the United States, we believe in hard work and merit.
Well, that was J.D. Vance at the just completed America Fest, where divisions within the party are exposed. TPUSA's backing of him for 28, loudly proclaimed by Erica Kirk. And the election season is on. The legislative season is almost on in Missouri. We always like to touch base with Scott Fawn about the goings-on in our great state, and he joins us now. Scott, you all ready for Christmas?
You know, Randy, I can actually say I think I am.
Holy cow.
I actually think I am in record time for me. On the 22nd, I think I'm ready to go. I'm in the chute.
Oh, man, you're killing me,
I
man.
hope you're giving Casey some credit for that. Because we know who's helping you.
The truth is, I had to zero in on Christmas. I give Casey credit for every single thing else.
There you go.
You were a wise man.
By the way, it is her birthday today, so happy shout out to the lovely one and only Casey Burns.
Oh, happy birthday to Casey. So how does that work out? Now, I think we've asked the question frequently. My grandpa was born.
Randy, I had blackmail on her family, so I got her to marry me. That's how that works out.
But I mean, if you're born close to or on Christmas, do you end up actually coming out net better, or do you get slighted? What do you think?
If you ask her, hardcore slided. Hardcore. Now, my birthday is January 19th, and what I have found, when I was younger, I would say I got marginally slighted because everybody had a couple paychecks since Christmas and try to build back up. But now that I'm older, I find that I have outstanding birthday parties because people are sort of worn out from the holiday parties.
Yeah.
But, you know, two and a half weeks later, people are ready to go.
Yeah. Even so, they sort of take a little sabbatical from dry January and have a nice party with you.
More often than not, yes.
Yeah, okay. Hey, so right off the top here, breaking news this morning. I didn't see this on my radar over the weekend. Maybe I missed it, but Kansas governor reports, Stephanie, is going to make an announcement in the Capitol today. Now, we don't know, but could it be about the Chiefs moving to Kansas?
I think it is about the Chiefs moving to Kansas. And look, I mean, we've all talked about what a terrific record of success Mike Keelis had so far. But, I mean, let's be honest. I think there's a good argument to say teams should pay their own way, right? I have some sympathy to that argument. I don't think that's real. If you want to have teams, you have to subsidize them to some level. But, hey, I get the argument. I'm very sympathetic to that argument. What would be the worst-case scenario is for us to lose the Chiefs and have to give a sweetheart deal to the Royals.
Ooh.
Who wants stuff with them? My God.
What
a terrible break.
That's a serious lump of coal in your stocking, no doubt.
Oh, my God. I mean, if you get rid of both and, you don't have to pay any subsidies, okay. You know, I think I think most folks in the state would have subsidized the Chiefs and been okay with it. The Royals were the tag-along. But, boy, can you imagine if somehow this deal gets done where the Chiefs are in Kansas and the Royals and all their 14, 15 fans are stuck with a sweetheart subsidized deal? That is the definition of a government failure.
Yeah.
It seems strange to me, though, because I see Kansas City as kind of like the shining star of Missouri. I mean, you don't see as much crime there. They landed the World Cup. They've had some pretty big successes. Obviously, the Chiefs have enjoyed some success, and that's brought some additional development their way. They've got, lots of construction going on there. I mean, it seems like a weird move.
Hey, I think Kansas has done a great job. And let's be honest, what does Kansas have? Nothing. I mean, they named their flagship campus after a bunch of murdering, raping, pillaging thieves and Jayhawks. I mean, this state is a nothing going on state. What they have done is they've drawn a line at the state line, and they said you get lower taxes, and they don't have the crime. The city of Kansas City pulls the freight for that area, and Kansas just kind of whips the cream off the top. So I'm not surprised at all they're doing this. I mean, it's like having Chesterfield without having the city. Those two things go together, but they don't have any obligations for debt. They don't have to take care of some of the folks who need taken care of in Kansas City. They just take the cream off the top. It is a do-nothing state, but it has found a way to leech itself onto Kansas City, and they may pluck the crown jewel of Kansas City over to Kansas now, which I think would be a sad thing. I'm a baseball fan. If anybody knows, I'm not the biggest Chiefs fan. However, I'm a Chiefs fan, and I do respect the fact that team can be 4-12, and those fans will be there in that freezing cold weather. I have a high admiration for the Chiefs and their fans, and I think it's a sad day if they move across the state line.
Well, we'll see. That announcement at 3 p.m. today, right, in the Kansas Capitol?
No, I think we'd all probably pitch in $5 or $10 for moving buses for the Royals to leave, though, right?
Well, remember all of the back and forth and a lot of time and effort taken up in the General Assembly last year about that bill, and it involved property taxes in different counties, and there was a lot of contention, and I think there's some litigation going on about that now as we speak.
Man, can you imagine being a state legislator who voted for this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine voting for this bill?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough vote. You're going to take grief on this vote,
right?
And then you don't keep the Chiefs. I mean, that's a bitter pill.
Well, maybe Missouri. I mean, St. Louis sure has a soccer reputation, and the World Cup coming to Kansas City.
I hope they can live that down.
Well, maybe Missouri will become the soccer capital of the United States. I don't know.
Well, I'd rather us just be capitalists, but I do think that I think St. Louis does have a tradition for two things: beer and baseball. The 11-time world champion St. Louis Cardinals, which I believe you can hear their games here all across the Zimmer radio network.
Yeah,
you can. Well, that issue took up a lot of time in the last session. We kind of know.
The aren't with the losers, right? They want to be with the winners. That's why they broadcast Cardinal games.
We're here to win. All right, but okay. So everybody knows that this income tax cut is going to be, I think, issue number one. The governor says he's going to lay out some of the plan in his State of the State. So beyond that issue, what other issues do you think are going to bubble to the top in 2026 that people should be, following and be aware of?
Look, I think you've got one thing that won't start off being a big deal, but will be a big deal as longer session goes on. There'll be some what they call abortion abolitionists who want to put an accompanying amendment on the ballot to totally outlaw abortion, back like it was prior to Amendment 3 passing last year.
Yeah.
I think those folks will play their cards and hold them until later in session and then try to hijack some stuff. But look, there's two bills the legislature really has to look at. Now, they'll decide what they want to do, but it is very unfair. The situation with VLTs in the state is unsustainable. It's not fair, the position you're putting prosecutors in, business owners, you're putting them in, just people that play these games. It is a ridiculous mishmash. If you want to outlaw them, hey, that's the legislature's prerogative. But don't leave it in this bizarre world where you don't know what's legal and illegal. It's if you talk to one person, say it's illegal, then your competitor gas station down the street says it is legal. It is a very ridiculous system that is a lack of political will. It reminds me of the lack of vision on sports gaming. We could have had a lot better programs for folks like Hal Dooley and the veterans if the legislature would have passed the bill, but they could never get that done. This is something that is long to be addressed. Again, there's folks that say outlaw them. Hey, that is up to Rudy V, Dave Griffith, Dave and Tyson Smith, the folks that elected them, or regulate them, one of the two. I probably think you're to the point where regulating makes more sense, but you know what? Do something. And then also, you got to look at if everybody enjoyed breakfast this morning, thank a Missouri farmer, and a Missouri farmer was using Roundup. And right now the lawyers are about to just make Bayer throw their hands up and leave the state. The ag groups are involved, and there's a big push. It's going to be a real gut test for some of the suburban Republicans. Wow. Can you cross your paymasters or not? And that's going to be a big issue. I think the governor's going to be involved with. Look, I think I don't think you should make it impossible to sue folks, but you are going to have some kind of reasonable situation come down here. The trial attorneys are on a great run in this state. The one thing that could trip that up is if you see glyphosate leave and it's this cheap Chinese glyphosate, it's the only thing on the market. That's going to be a real big problem to the state. And
I will push back a little bit in that I think existing law says slot machines in gas stations is illegal, and that
I get it, but if we go in any gas station, that somehow it ain't, right?
It's a prosecutor problem.
I think there should be some clarity either way, whether it's your position, whether it's somebody else's position. The current situation is ridiculous.
But yet I drive down the highway at my 55 miles an hour in the construction zone on 70, and people are passing me left and right 75 miles an hour. And then if I go 65 and get caught, I have to pay the piper, right? But we don't we don't
We're not
enforce
enforcing
that
our
law.
existing laws.
The inconsistent enforcement is, I think, what troubles many. Speaking of the farmers, Scott, I read in the Missouri Times, we're talking with Scott Fawn, publisher of Missouri Times, and I read a couple of opinion pieces about something that I guess I had a blind spot for, and there's something about railway mergers and how that could really significantly impact farmers. And we have a lot of agricultural folks, that not only farmers, but other parts of the industry. Tell us how that's going to impact farmers if it happens.
Look, I think the Harry Truman became famous because he built roads in Jackson County to get farmers' crops to the market. A large part of agriculture is growing, so sure, but if you don't have a way to get it out, and with that merger, there'd be some route consolidation, which could hurt Missouri farmers. It is absolutely a concern that's, so much of the time, how these mergers come out. Look at all the promises that were made in St. Louis when TWA merged, right? Yeah. Go down the list of the mergers. And now the promises that simply were made in year one, that by year 3 were totally gone, and by year 5, no one even remembered them because no one's still around. You got to keep an eye on these mergers. I really think this is an issue. Josh Hawley has become quite a person who's been involved in business regulation. Mm-hmm. I think some of that stuff, it's like, it kind of cuts against my grain. But I do think on some of these railroad things, the railroads have probably, Stephanie would know this, Mark Ellinger, her business partner, has got a great story. The railroads have some amazingly generous laws that assist them in how they do their business. I think it's very natural, if you're going to ask for some of the special provisions the railroads have, to also ask them to guarantee some of these routes are maintained in this merger, not just in year 1, but in year 3, 4, 5, when I think there's a lot of Missourians that can tell you stories about about mergers where lots of good things were promised, but not many good things were followed through on.
We've seen it in the healthcare space for sure.
Now, January 14th, we'll be live in Jefferson City for the governor's prayer breakfast. I mentioned earlier, it's a good time where we can kind of take the temperature of everyone as they return to Jefferson City.
They're praying for you, Stephanie? They made you have breakfast and lunch.
Well, I think, as a prayer breakfast, a lot of people are showing up, kind of putting partisans differences aside, but we've seen some pretty contentious interviews at that. People showing up, they're still big mad from the last session. Has that temperature lowered since they left Jefferson City, or you think it's right up there still?
This is going to be the most interesting session, Stephanie, since you were actually working at the Senate. You have a Democrat caucus that has to push back on behalf of the state of Missouri. You have your average Republican in that caucus is like, yeah, we probably screwed up. Not so much the outcome of the second special session, just the highly unprofessional way. I honestly think every senator should have wore a ski mask when if they took a paycheck for that. It was a disgrace to the state how they went about that. I think there's a lot of them that know that and aren't proud of it and are going to give the Democrats a wide berth. But do they push too far? Go too far?
We'll be keeping an eye on it along with Scott. Up against a break. Talk to you soon. Merry Christmas, Scott.
See you later, buddy.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Coming up, it's the Market Report. The Morning Bell with Stephanie.
It's Wake Up.
As the markets open on Christmas week, let's see what's up with the morning bell. Stephanie?
Well, it was a good day on Friday. We had the Dow up 0.38%, the S&P up 0.88%, NASDAQ up 1.31%. We've seen a bit of a mixed bag lately, but apparently all three indexes are not too far off from their record highs. Of course, we take a half day on the markets on Wednesday, and then they're off Thursday, back Friday. So we'll see how we end the year. That's when I like to kind of keep track of things. I always watch the end of the year number. And if we look at the sectors, mainly on Friday, we saw gains in health, industrials, and technology, losses, pretty big losses in utilities. So if you also want to look at your portfolio and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have way overspent on my Christmas budget, maybe you can find a solution in the Powerball. Do you have your ticket yet?
I do not.
Okay, well, no one won on Saturday night, so that means tonight's drawing is for $1.6 billion. It's the fifth largest prize in U.S. lottery history, the fourth largest in Powerball history, and the estimated cash value is $735.3 million. So apparently Saturday night, a bunch of people matched all the 5 white balls, but no one got the Powerball. So the jackpot continues to grow. The odds of winning any prize, I won like $1 here, $2 here, 1 in 24.9. But the odds of hitting the jackpot, 1 in 292 million. What's the odds of getting struck by lightning? It's like less than that, right?
Yeah, right. 1 in 292 million. There's what, 340 million now?
Yes.
Counting illegals. Yeah.
Tonight's drawing marks the 46th in the current jackpot run, which is a Powerball record for most drawings in one cycle. But here's a fun fact. The last jackpot win was on September 6th of this year, and somebody in Missouri and Texas split the 1.787 billion. So when you think it's not going to be you, you're like, somebody in Missouri won it the last time.
Yeah, you never know.
So if you take the lump sum, you get $735.3 million. If you take the annuity, you get $1.6 billion because you take one immediate payment and then 29 annual payments, increasing by 5% yearly.
Have you bought
That's a
some
lot of
tickets?
dough. Not yet, but it's one of my favorite Christmas gifts. I usually go and stock up not only on Powerball but on scratchers, and I love handing those things out. Yeah.
Great.
I think that the lottery's a losing game, and everyone that's listening right now shouldn't buy a ticket. It's just terrible. And whenever I win, it'll be great. But no one
But when
listening
you
right
lose,
now.
you can say, "I'm so glad I donated to education."
No, that's not what's going through my head.
Well, Drake, if you win that Powerball,
as he's placing a sports bet right now,
when you hit the jackpot on that Match.com date of a lifetime that Santa gave you, a whole month's worth of Match.com, man, think of the beautiful romantic holiday you could have. As he rolls his eyes. When we come back, let's recap on the college football playoffs.
I think just local news.
Welcome back into Wake Up Missouri on this Monday morning. And if you're feeling a little bit better than you did yesterday and you can't figure out why, it's because yesterday was the shortest period of sunlight in 2025, and now it's going to start getting longer.
And it's going to be 70 degrees on Christmas.
Oh, man, that's... I had depression when I realized that yesterday.
You said we have so much sunlight, but it's really cloudy out, and I can't see the sun at all. So
I know. Well, but still, it's just knowing it. Psychologically, it's a boost. Yeah? Yeah, you agree, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Does the rooster crow at your place differently based on the length of the day? Yeah, right?
We don't have any roosters, but yeah.
And if he did, he wouldn't hear him because he's already here by the time the sun comes up.
How does the rooster crow line up with, let's say, when it's legal to hunt, like a half an hour before official sunrise? Does the rooster crow, as the sun is peaking above the horizon, or when does the rooster crow?
Whenever it gets up, I'd assume.
Some days it's a wonder to me that you're not on gummies, Randy. These are questions I've never asked myself. I feel like these are high people questions with Randy. Do you think a rooster crows early during hunting? This is only a question a high person would ask. I'm sorry.
Well, these are the kind of questions that I think about in the middle of the night. I wake up and I'm like,
maybe, yeah.
Is it a certain angle of the sun with the horizon, or is it just a random time near sunrise? Maybe Brian Hauswirth knows. Brian, do you know? Does the rooster crow consistently with the sunrise, or is it really just sort of a random thing?
I have heard it when I worked in Carrollton and Moberly. I would hear it. I have not heard it here in Columbia, but I have, and it seems to be at the actual sunrise. It does. That's been my experience, but it has been a number of years since I've heard that, but now, I do remember it quite a bit.
Now, Stephanie is ridiculing me, but I would rebut that that's just a curious mind. I just have a curious mind.
So do high people.
She looks at me like my mom used to look at me when I ate almost all of the ice cream but left 1 teaspoon in the thing and put it back. And I would say, "No, Mom, you taught me not to take the last of anything." And she goes, Is
that because you had the munchies, Randy, with the high questions?
Chris says a rooster crows any dang time he feels the urge.
That's true. That's true.
All right, so over the weekend, I saw Miami beat Texas A&M. And I know that Drake was thrilled about that. Brian Hauswirth, would you have predicted that?
I always go with generally in a game like that. They were two excellent teams, great football teams.
It was like 0-0 till the end, wasn't it?
It was a very low-scoring game, but I'll tell you, the weather played a factor and wind as well. But I generally go with the home teams in a game like that. And I thought that, it's called the home of the 12th man. Yeah. You can't hear signals in that stadium. Yeah. It is virtually impossible. And the Hurricanes put together a phenomenal game plan, Randy, to put that together. Give them a tremendous amount of credit in that football game for winning that, for Miami to do that. That is huge. And there is a local connection here for our KWTO listeners in Springfield. Miami Hurricanes, Nixa, Missouri, small town south of Springfield. They have the #1 high school recruit in the country. Not just Missouri, the country. His name is Cantwell, offensive lineman. The guy he's an all-world. This guy is going to be probably in the NFL.
Son of Olympian Christian Cantwell.
That's right.
Who did throwing sports for Mizzou and went to the Olympics.
That's exactly right. And his son, a lot of Mizzou fans assumed he'd go here, and Christian Cantwell was just was very impressed with Mario Cristobal. Stephanie's absolutely correct, and he's going to play there next year. Their offensive line, Randy, the reason I bring him up, that's what made the difference in the game. The Hurricane offensive line was spectacular. Cantwell will likely start next year, but Miami had a huge game. Very hard to win in that stadium. I would also say Oklahoma losing that game to Alabama at home. I would not have predicted that. Again, home field advantage. I just you normally don't see that happen.
So again, Alabama's overrated. I mean, in the selections, a lot of people were saying there was a bias for Alabama.
I said on air, I still believe that with 3 losses they shouldn't have been in. But the bottom line is they won. Yeah. They have proved themselves, and it's tremendous. But I still have a real serious question them getting in with 3 losses into the thing to begin with. That said, for them to go into that stadium, Owen Field, and win was huge.
All right,
Drake.
I'm going to comment on the Miami Hurricanes Texas A&M game. For all of our listeners out there, all of our male listeners, this is the only one that applies. Something more fun than watching that game, take you and a buddy and face the wind and see who can pee the farthest. You're both going to end up drenched in, pee, but it's way more fun than what we had to experience because that was a terrible, it was a good game if you like defensive football.
It's like a soccer game.
Yeah, it was a soccer game. It was just I did not have a lot of fun watching it. The Alabama-Oklahoma game, though, Brian, Oklahoma's had Alabama's number for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
They have. They've lost 2 games over there, and I do think that third loss being in the SEC championship, I don't think that that's something to hold above their head. You don't want to encourage, finishing third in your conference because then you don't play for the conference championship where you can get injured or lose your spot in the playoff because you lost in your conference championship.
I certainly understand that.
So
and
Bama,
I think that is a legitimate argument. I do.
You think Bama's got legs?
I do. I agree with Drake on that. I still think the A&M game was exciting, but I understand it didn't have a whole lot of offense. I want to say yes, I do. I think they will. I want to say one thing about the Alabama-Oklahoma game because a lot of people commented online. Drake probably saw this. There was a attempted field goal by Tate Sandell in that game. Tate, of course, kicked here last year, as I recall, the left-footed kicker. And it looked from the camera angle, by the way, from ABC Friday night on 2 of those were very hard to see. And Chris Fowler said it was good on air. At least once he did, and maybe twice, and both times it went bad. Now the camera angle was bad, but what happened is, and I'm not. Each team has to play with the wind, but the wind took that ball that was right down the middle, and then moved it to the side. It was like an act of God almost. Bottom line, it affects both teams, but Fowler took some criticism during the broadcast that he should have seen it. But from that camera angle, he's looking at the same monitor I am. He's up in the booth. I can see why he thought it was good. It was going straight down the middle, and then all of a sudden went over to the what appeared to be the left.
Well, whenever they choose any kicker that kicks from the left, I mean, they get what they deserve.
He's a really good kicker, though.
I'm kidding you. Okay, now, so A&M beat Mizzou.
They did.
And Mizzou plays in the Gator Bowl on the 27th. What is that, Friday? No, Saturday night. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. It'll be renamed the Trump Gator Bowl very shortly. Versus Virginia. How is that shaping up?
I think it's going to be a really good football game. Virginia plays in the ACC. They very well could have won the ACC championship game, overtime game against Duke. And obviously it's one of those things that you just have to wait and see what happens. But I'm very interested to see whoever they decide. Is it Chip Lindsey is going to call the plays? The guy that was just hired as offensive coordinator.
Will he be calling the plays?
I don't know. Eli Drinkwitz joked at his press conference we might get Dave Matter to do it. The former St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter now works at MU. He was joking around, so I don't know who's going.
That would be fun.
It'd be let Dave do it. The bottom line is. Fans overwhelmingly that I can see online are kind of glad Kirby Moore got that job at Washington State. That seems to be the overwhelming prevalence from fans. We'll see.
Let's ask Stephanie. Stephanie, what do you think about the offensive coordinator job?
I have no opinion. I do know Drake is very happy about it. And I would agree with Brian's assessment. From my scrolling of Twitter, It appears that people were pleased by that.
And I don't know how scientific it is, but that's certainly what I noticed.
Have any of the players, unlike Luther Burden, committed to playing in the bowl game?
Well, I think there's a couple of injured players they mentioned, but as far as the bulk of the team, yes, they're going to be there. They're going to be there, and they're going to play.
Thank you for playing in the bowl game.
And it is a chance they can make history if they win that football game. They're 8-4. It'd be 3 straight seasons of at least 9 wins. It was a little disappointing of the year, little bit. I mean, you lost that Vanderbilt game. Literally on a Hail Mary pass within maybe an inch. I still thought it was he got in originally, but then the team was never the same after that.
Is that the one that Prebula got injured in?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, right.
Matt Zollers is the one that threw that pass.
I'm high on Zollers. I think Zollers, he looks just something about the guy, his poise, the way he stands in there. There's something about the guy, I think, with the right coaching, and this guy was a quarterback coach at North Carolina, right?
Yes.
Lindsey? Yeah.
And he was also the offensive coordinator at Michigan this past year.
Really?
Yes. And he was at Troy. He's been at Auburn. You know, there are some fans online that don't like the hire. I've seen fans that do, but I mean, let's give the guy a chance here.
Wow, this will be exciting. I hope he calls the plays. That'd be fun to get a little preview.
And there's no stress in a game like that. But I again, it's just these games they're exciting, but also you don't want to see anybody get hurt. It's not a CFP.
I never
but
want to see anybody get hurt.
And you don't at all. But no, I think it'll be fun. Gator Bowl used to be a lot bigger than it is now. There are other games obviously moved up to, but you remember the Clemson Ohio State game. You and I are old enough to remember a coach actually punched a player.
I remember.
He did.
Yeah.
The coach of Ohio State punched the
right.
Clemson, intercepted a pass. This guy was he was almost like a god with a lower G in Ohio State. I'm not exaggerating. Woody Hayes was extremely popular. He got fired after that.
Speaking of that, over the weekend at one of the games, Pittsburgh versus Lions? Pittsburgh guy got in trouble by taking a swipe at one of the Lions fans. Did you see that?
He slapped Metcalf. Looked like a fan that had like a blue.
Looks like he had a blue, like a mop on his head. Yeah.
You just got to, I know he said that the guy, I don't know what the guy said to him, but I do know that Jim Nance and Tony Romo were taken aback that happened.
Yeah, so what actually happened was the fan said DK Metcalf's legal name, and he kind of, started swinging after that.
What's his legal name?
It's like Decarius something Metcalf.
Well, what's wrong with that? His name.
I mean,
now, I saw a little clip where they showed that, and then it was edited, but later on they showed him on the sidelines with his hand over his heart. Was he apologizing to the fan or begging the refs not to throw him out for the whole?
Well, I don't think the refs saw it. I don't. I mean, this was captured.
That would be a penalty, wouldn't it? I mean, wouldn't that be an unsportsmanlike thing? Or is it only during play?
I've not seen quite frankly that happen, but you have to when you have somebody mouthing off it, you let the security know, but you can't do that.
By the way, we had a gaggle of guys talking about NIL and portal and all that. It got into industry, and we all came to I think we came to a consensus. There may have been one outlier that if a guy gets an NIL pot of gold and doesn't play in the bowl game, he had got to give it all back.
Wow.
That year.
Interesting.
That ought to be a rule that goes along with NIL.
That would be if that were the case. Luther Burden would have had to give some money away last year.
I think that's only right. If the fans and the company brought you to the dance, they expect to see you dance for the whole night.
Interesting.
There you go.
Thank you, Randy.
Brian Hauswirth, thank you. Good analysis.
Good
All right, we'll be back and wrap it up with leftovers.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
There's still so much important work to do, my friends. We're barely a year into this administration, not even a year into the administration. But I'm so proud of the accomplishments of the president and the entire administration. In just a year, we ended Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's border crisis.
And that's J.D. Vance at the TPUSA America Fest, just finished. A big, big gathering, 31,000 registrants, with about a third of them, according to the organization, young people, school-age folks. And so good to see. I think the campaign for 28 has begun. Certainly the push to the midterms, trying to turn around the narrative on accountability and performance, which the Democrats say there's been underperformance and unaccountability and unaffordability on the part of Trump versus what he promised. The Republicans and J.D. Vance and Trump's speech last night saying, what do you mean? Look at what we've done. This 2.5 million deportees, 1.5 self-deported. I mean, and on and on and on.
I've been watching Paige Schulte's social medias. She's the head of the TPUSA chapter here at Mizzou. Yeah. She's been at America Fest, gotten a lot of photos. So we need to chat with her maybe next week about being on. So we'll work on that. Yeah,
we'll try to get her on. I think that'd be great. And more and more and more and more college and high school chapters requesting to enroll. And so the movement continues. Nicki Minaj, a startling, on screen there and on stage with Erica Kirk. That was interesting. I don't know. Some people would say Nicki Minaj has a fairly checkered presence on the rap sphere. Peter, join us. I want Peter to join us. You're going to be in. You in for Gary this week?
Yeah, I'm in for Gary.
Yeah.
By the way, are you familiar with the Nicki Minaj hit Anaconda?
No.
You may want to.
Well, I looked up a Nicki Minaj Christmas song, and it starts out with Mariah Carey's beginning to "All I Want for Christmas," and then Nicki Minaj goes into a rap thing that
She's awesome.
It would make.
She is awesome.
It would make Jay-Z or anyone else shudder, or anyone. I don't know. It's tough. We couldn't play it. Let's just put it that way. It would be about 95% bleep.
Hey, remember how last week we were talking about me getting over my fear and getting in an electric car?
Yes.
Did you see what happened this weekend?
No.
San Francisco's
had
a power outage and all their lights went down. And guess what? The cars
mass confusion
went into freeze mode and they all just stopped moving.
Did you see what Musk responded? He says robocars would not have done that.
So they have suspended their service, I think, through Sunday. But that is weighing against me jumping in one of these driverless cars.
So why is it that robocars would not have had a problem, but the Waymo cars would have because of a power
That's
outage?
Elon being Elon, I think. Right?
I think that those are required to have the 5G hookup.
Oh.
And over the robocars have their own navigation, their own setup, and ready to go. I believe that's the reason why.
I don't know. It's a brave new world out there. I just cannot see myself getting into a car without a driver. I don't know. I just might as well have Drake Whitman taking you home. I mean, that's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Kip Kendrick, who joined us earlier, was talking about the grand opening of the training center. They'll have simulators there, and we're trying to reserve a spot for Drake.
The latest
remedial training.
Latest in tech for training folks all around the state. It sounds like a really cool event. It's going to be open to the public and on second Saturday in January.
Gary Nolan coming up right after us, except Peter's in for Gary. You going to give us a little preview?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the patriarchy.
The patriarchy. I resemble that remark. All right, we look forward to Peter hosting for Gary, and of course later on, Eagle Eye Drive at 5 with Mike. Thanks for being with us this day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.